those things have been put in your heart to believe in and to value for a reason. Um, and there's someone out there that wants to hear that or understand that. And even if you just inspire or do it for one person, it's a difference you made in one person's life. And we don't know how long we're going to be on earth for, but changing one person is better than none.
Welcome to Ballers Brew, the world's hottest sports podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bromfield, and I'm thrilled to have you join us for another exciting episode. At Ballers Brew, we dive deep into the latest topics and trends in the sporting industry, offering diverse perspectives and thought-provoking discussions. Whether you're a passionate fan, a professional athlete, or simply a sports enthusiast, this is the place to be. Join me as we explore everything from game-changing strategies to behind-the-scenes stories, all aimed at elevating your understanding of the world of sports. This is Ballers Brew. Some people are drawn to the finish line. Others are drawn to the frontier, the quiet edge where comfort ends and something deeper begins. Keith Jansen lives on that edge. He's the kind of athlete who doesn't chase applause, he chases silence. The kind of coach who's not counting laps, but building lives. From the pool deck to the mountain pass, Keith has carved out a philosophy rooted in process, presence, and pushing past what most would consider the limits. Through Lane Leader, he's raised a generation of swimmers who don't just train harder, they train smarter. And through his own ultra endurance pursuits, the long runs, the cold swims, the solo miles, he's built a life around discipline, stillness, and the kind of grit that doesn't fade when the spotlight moves on. But this episode isn't just about performance, it's about purpose, about how movement can anchor you, coaching can shape you, and effort, the right kind, can remake you. We talk about the early days, the mental trenches, and the quiet victories that come when no one's watching. This isn't a story about chasing time, it's about making peace with it. I'm honored to welcome Keith Jansen to Ballers Brew.
Oh, Michael, I'm not not 100% sure if I deserve that intro, but sure, you got me deep there. But thank you for having me. It's such an honor. And when you reached out to me, I knew that I had to take the time and make the time, even though it took a little bit of time to collaborate. Yeah, I'm privileged, and thank you for having me. Really.
I'm very excited to be able to chat with you. For those that are listening and who may not know, Keith is one of my coaches at the club here in Stellenbosch at Lane Leader, as I mentioned in the intro. And yeah, just having the chance to engage with you on pool deck, our conversations on the side, I thought it would be an amazing opportunity to get to learn a little bit more about you and to connect, but also to share some of the lessons that I've learned from you with those that are listening. So maybe just to start here, right, for those who may be wondering, who is this guy called Keith? Beyond the stopwatch and the finish line, if someone had to understand the current that shaped you most, where would that story begin?
Um, sure. Well, my life started in Jeffreys Bay as a surfer. Ended up in Stellenbosch as a swimmer. Stopped swimming because I had to raise money in order to pay my bills because my father passed away. And ended up in swimming coaching while I wanted to be an architect. So, quite a round trip of things, but certainly, I think I'm definitely where my heart desires. And I'm Keith Jansen, the family man, the person that's got a passion for sport. Not football as such, but all the other sports, most probably. But really dedicated and invested in people, and someone that's living the life through the power and the dignity and emotion, love and caring that I think this earth deserves. And I just hope that people can relate to that and that we can change the youth. And that's what I'm about.
I find it truly inspirational. I mean, from what it sounds like, architecture to coaching, it's a proper black and white, so different in fields, but having the opportunity to engage with you in what you rightly said now, this strong passion for people, a family man, and what I would believe is true grounding values and principles within coaching in terms of being able to connect with individuals, guide individuals, uh, and just be in a place in which you're able to help nurture talent, grow talent.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely, the big thing is that I think I've got a gift where people really enjoys opening up towards me, without me asking sometimes, and I really try to listen. It's not always most probably my best um, character, I would say, listening, because I miss a lot of stuff sometimes. But um, when it comes to people, I tend to like the engagement and try to help through life lessons or stuff that I've done wrong in my life, to try and help athletes out there, not just athletes, but youth or older people, and try and relate with them through that. But the biggest thing is if you end up listening, and you truly find what the root is of that person, you can end up getting to a certain um, uh, desire or a certain goal or aspiration, I think, much quicker than just not trying to engage with someone. And it's not just results that we're chasing, but also the ultimately the person that's trying to be also trying to be a father or a husband or a partner, whatever, out there, and trying to be the best that they can possibly be. Sport, life, whatever that is.
A lot of athletes that I've spoken to or individuals in sport, what I find interesting is, and perhaps in other spheres too, but it's very community driven, meaning that it's very hard to find success alone as an individual, where you need the right individuals, the right group around you. And you rightfully mentioned how important it is within any space in terms of developing relationships, and it becomes people centered, right? And what I find interesting is, from what I know, and I might be wrong, but listening to your story, is that you've worn many hats, being a swimmer, being a coach, being an ultra endurance athlete yourself, being a father. What do you think's the thread that ties them together for you? When did you perhaps realize that this wasn't only about sport, but perhaps something deeper?
Um, I, I had some really good examples as fatherhood. Like I said, family is very important to me, and um, I grew up in a family home that was very loving and caring and supportive of what I'm doing, to such an extent where my sister and her husband currently drove up and down on a Sunday or a Saturday to come fetch me at hostel, to just give me some family feeling over a Saturday afternoon after training, and then dropping me off again on Sunday. And everybody was very supportive. So the family aspect, I think there was really great examples out there, and just the people that crossed my path. So if you have wonderful, and I think that is what I'm trying to get at, is if I try and guide someone, or if I live by what I think was valuable in my life, and if I can live that and be that person, then I think ultimately that is the goal of what I'm trying to be and who I'm trying to be. Um, I mean, it started with my father, and unfortunately, he passed away. And then my mom was the one that never asked questions, but she always just made the food and made sure that I'm ready and set and on my way to training, or um, just loving me. Where my father was the one that. Um, he phoned me after every morning practice, after every afternoon practice, and checked in with me, and we shared that passion for sport, and through my sister and actually the whole family. And then and I just think the examples that I've got over my that that had that pathway for me, and it's ingrained in me, and I try to live by that, and just and the values. Values are, I think, a very important thing in life. And if you take the correct, or the good values, and you implement them in your life, and you try to live by the great examples that crossed your path, then you're on the road of success. And I'm just trying to build on that, leave the bad things and take the good things, and just keep building.
I love where this is going. You're touching on values. And I think it's so critical, my opinion, you may correct me if I'm wrong, but being in a place where there's a lot of influence, but at the same time, what I'm taking away is that through your experiences, and in the roles in which you currently play, is that you're also wanting to live life to the fullest, being present in the moment, and in doing so, being able to give back to those around you. Would you say
Yeah,
would that be
yeah.
a good synopsis?
100, 100. No, I think you're touching on the. Let me first say, I think it's sometimes very difficult trying to have all those hats. But I think it's also something that people will respect me most for. And you said in the intro, it's like the silent, the silent coach, and that's a great. I'm glad that that's how people see me, because that's what I really try and be. Is that I want to be the silent coach, where I don't chase the medals and the traveling overseas and being selected for teams, and because ultimately those things. You're still working with athletes, and you're still working with people, so you're not defined by if you're going on a team or not. I know the type of work that I put in, I know what I'm doing, but having the different hats that you have to put in. When I'm home, I need to be a family man, I need to be there for my daughters, I need to be there for my wife, and it's not always easy. It's really difficult sometimes to try and find the balance. But when you do get the balance right, it's a pretty amazing feeling. But I think people will respect me the most when one day, when they're in my position, and see how valuable time is to try and juggle family, try and making sure that you as a person is looked after and healthy as well, still being a coach that's giving his utmost for athletes, and trying to dig deeper into their lives and not just their performances.
Mm.
And if hopefully by that, what I'm doing, I will hopefully have the right community that will one day be like. I understand why Keith said he can't be at a 5:30 practice, and why he most probably missed a Saturday afternoon, or He couldn't go for coffee because I'm trying to make sure that I'm putting all the hats on and that the cups is even or equally full. And I think people will hopefully, when they're older, respect me for making sure that I cover all those bases and not just invest in swimming, because I do have a family, I do have a wife, I do have bills that I need to pay. I've got swimmers that I have to invest my utmost best time for and effort. And yeah, if I get it right, it will be a really good feeling. But that's ultimately what it's about, is people seeing the value that you can add by doing all these sorts of things and still making a difference somehow.
That's truly special. And yeah, I must commend you for being able to juggle all those balls whilst at the same time not allowing anything to slip. I would like to take a step back. I briefly mentioned the importance of values, and I would like to perhaps switch and go into the bigger picture, but looking into philosophy. And more so, something that I've found truly, truly admirable and special to be a part of, but looking into lane leaders' coaching philosophy, which I believe has sparked something unique within the South African swimming circles. So, more specifically, what do you believe made you want to do it differently as a coach? And what have you learned about people through this experience?
Yeah, I think some of coaching is not an easy job, especially if you sometimes work for an institution and you're not your own boss, and you have to sometimes listen and be guided by outside factors. So when we started Lane Leader, I made sure that when I commit to to this job and this opportunity in Stellenbosch, I made sure that I would be able to run things on a more personal way where I know that I can make a difference. Um, and and that's where the values come in, because I said these are the type of values that we need to run within the club, that I think is important, and and hopefully people can see that by the way that we do things. And it has to be community driven. It has to be a family orientated environment. When I coach, anybody is welcome on pool deck. Doesn't matter what your ability. And and luckily, I found the right people to work with in order to push that values within the club structure, where we don't have this outside influences of how you must do certain things. And I do think it sets us apart from the different clubs in South Africa. And I think people that relate to those type of values want to ultimately be part of something that's growing in where they relate to those type of things. So
I find it truly special and something that I've very, very pleased that I've been able to be a part of. Um, and I find it interesting just looking into that. Specifically, you get different performance environments, and performance environments doesn't have to relate to sport. It can be in any form of business or any space that you're involved in. And a lot of individuals I speak to, it's understanding how to create or curate an environment that is conducive for performance to flourish. And that's why I find it interesting when you look at the philosophy, the grounding values. Uh, and I believe there's no right or wrong formula, but there are some that are better than others in terms of being more conducive to results. And results again don't have to be performance driven by the stats of medals and trophies.
Yeah.
So true,
Well,
truly
we do.
interesting.
I must tell you that we still challenged with the outside factors. So it's not always as easy as it may sound out there. Um, I mean, there's a lot of things that go with it, where you're challenged by parents or challenged by swimmers. But um, I think if you got the values and you know exactly how you wanna do certain things, then people will commit to it. If it's right or wrong, um, in that sense, it doesn't really matter. But like you say, a gold medal is not always a gold medal on stage, or a gold medal at a Western Cape Champs. It can be in your personal life, it can be financially, it can be physical growth, it can emotional growth, finding people that comes across your path, where one day you'll do business with, that you've built a relationship with. So there's so many great things that do come from, not just swimming coaching, but just in general. That yeah, that's what makes it special, I think.
I'd like to now switch it out a little bit. Okay, so we looked a lot into to swimming, and I find it interesting because you've got your foot in two worlds, so to speak. Uh, you've trained various athletes to chase milliseconds in the pool for performance. But as an athlete yourself, you've endured some of the longest, most punishing races imaginable. What has ultra endurance taught you about suffering, silence, and self trust?
Yeah, what an interesting game. And I keep going back for more suffering and more pain, even bigger, and it's crazy. But yeah, yeah, it's a very interesting game. I'm very, I want to say addicted is most probably the wrong word, because addiction is a strong word, but it's so nice going back and seeing actually what you as a person, what you're capable of, that if you only have 4 hours in a day, what actually you can do with that 4 hours. And I I needed I needed to do I needed to be healthy. Number one, it's cheaper than seeing a psychologist. Number two, um, and ultimately for my coaching, it's the best way to juggle things. It's a way for me to escape and be in my head and think about things and how to solve problems. But it started off with something really small, about trying to be healthy before my first little one arrives. Because I was eating McDonald's and KFC every single day of my life, and after being some sort of committed athlete, if I want to say it, a professional is a strong word, but a committed athlete, and I had to change my lifestyle, and um, yeah, committed to some shorter runs, which was 10 to 15, and never thought that I will end up where I am today. But yeah, it's more just to escape, trying to be as healthy as I possibly can be. And in that process, I try to give back, because I find I learn a lot about myself when I'm out and alone, and it's raining and I'm running. It's 9 o'clock at night, doing hill sprints, because I had to put the kids to bed and they're sleeping, and I can quickly run out for my daily run, after my coaching duties and my fatherly duties and husband duties. Um, but that's a place where I find myself, and um, where I get the values and the understanding of what I need to do the next day, and how I can be a better person for someone that maybe had a question that I couldn't answer, on stuff that they're struggling. So, yeah, I I have to run further and longer and suffer more in order to be to get these things in my head that I struggle with myself to try and get across to the people that I work with as well.
I find it truly admirable. Again, you rightfully mentioned the different hats. Being able to switch from one lane to the next, whilst still being able to find time to place yourself in a performance environment where you are having to endure, because it's not easy. As you say, going at 9 p.m. to do hill sprints. If we look into perhaps a little bit of the psychology, and often in a hard set, you love to tell us on the last round, dig deep, push hard, you've got this, give it everything you can. Maybe you're doing back end speed and it's the last 50 of how many ever we've done. Similarly, you must find that on the latter end of a race, let's say at the comrades, you've got the last 10Ks, or even going out to do those hill sprints at 9 p.m. and you're halfway through. But what is the mindset in terms of having to endure? So we've mentioned the suffering, and that helps with your mental clarity and being able to push through, but actually being in that moment, what is that like, if I may ask, for you?
I, I have to put myself through that because I said to the squad the other day, it's like candy. You start eating chocolate and the next day you're like, oh, one piece is not enough, let me just have three, and then you start craving it more and more and more, and the more you have it you want it more. And I think that's a little bit of endurance and the mental side of things. So once you see what's on the other side of that cliff and you go down that cliff, and you see the beautiful side of what you're capable of doing, and what you can put your body through, and that waking up at 9 or going for a run at 9 is actually just, you know, there's people that's doing way more crazier things than what I'm putting myself through or and doing. But for me, it's like a Mount Everest, but the mental side of it is that I, I I try to tap into that so that I have a better understanding of what athletes go through. The mental side of things is a very interesting part of coaching. It's a very interesting part of relationships as a father, as as a husband, um, and the the more you can understand, that, I think the better you can try and get to an end result quicker or without frustration, um, or in a just a what's the right word, an easier way of understanding. And athletes relate to someone that's willing to go further than they are going. And I really try and live by example rather than sitting on the couch and not being the example for my swimmers. I want to know that if they're doing a 10K set, that I've that's nothing. I've been way further. I've been way harder. I've broken myself multiple times during the week, because I don't want them to tell me, but you don't understand what we're going through, because I promise you I do understand what you're going through. I've been there actually. Lots of people say that they've been there, but I'm going there currently, and I'm going there consistently, um, and then then I think I can get the mental side to switch on, and get to that desired result that they wish to achieve, and that might not be the Olympics, and it might be to get a medal at Western Cape Short Course Champs, or just to go home and appreciate their family. That is what it's about.
Mm. I find it special looking at lived experience and being able to contribute through a relation in which it's shared. Meaning, it's like you say, we're in the pool, but there's a commonality. For instance, those days when you pitch up to our morning training session, coming running through the gate with your running tackies, you've got your Powerade, you're like, don't warm up so and so, but you've just come from a 21K or 15K run, and it's like it's shared pain. And for a sport where it's so individualized in the pool, actually having that community where a relation can be built on. And something I've been dabbling with lately, this thought, which I find interesting, and maybe you also relate to it. It's in today's society, there's this culture that's been garnered where instant results are celebrated, right? Instant gratification. But you've built a career around delayed gratification and more so discipline. And you briefly touched on it earlier, but how do you stay committed to the long game, especially when work goes unseen? Whoa, whoa. Hey, Ballers Nation. Quick break in the action. Thanks for tuning into Ballers Brew. If you dig our fresh take on sports, please rate, review, or share the podcast. It only takes a moment, but it makes a huge difference. Thanks for the support.
You're putting me on the spot, yeah. When you truly understand what life is about, you don't care what people see and what people say, and how they do certain things. Even though when it hurts you deep inside, which happens quite a lot, especially in coaching. But I can see where I came from. I can see in where I was in the gutters, where I didn't even know how to get myself out of that um, to where I am today. You just have to stop listening to the outside world, start trusting what you do, why you do it, and fall back onto the things and the people that supported you to get this far. As, as soon as you can, as soon as you can understand the importance of not having a lot of people, but having the people that's willing to keep you up. If you keep them close, and if you can really work with them and surround yourself with those people, you will understand what life is about. And if you understand that small little part about what life is really about, then nothing else matters. What people say, how they do things, it's about you and your structure and the people around you that's clapping for you in your corner.
If I look at the role in which you're in, and daily you're working with young athletes, and this is my opinion. Please disagree with me if you differ, but I believe in coaching or any environment where you're working with individuals, especially within the youth, grassroots level sports. Beyond the sport, and I think you mentioned it earlier, it's that there's a big focus on developing the person beyond the sporting code itself. And the individual may have large aspirations, but it's also the question of how can you best assist them to help prepare them for the future that's ahead of them. And I find it beautiful how you mentioned in your previous answer, only you know what you as Keith Jansen have been through. Only you know the road that you've walked daily. Perhaps maybe some that are within your inner circle who are also familiar with that story, but only you truly know the highs and the lows and how that made you feel. Um, and again, it's beautiful in terms of you understanding the importance of community to work through that. So in that same breath, how do you believe as a coach you can provide that stepping stone for the individuals, the young athletes you work with, to help bridge that gap, that community that you're referring to in your previous answer?
Um, just just by first of all, example. I think that is important, but everybody knows that examples are very important. But um, by installing that or instilling that confidence in themselves and making them aware that it's all about you. It's not about someone else. It's all about you. How you can, yeah, it's very difficult to put it in words because I think um I have two kids of my own now, and they're gonna go through these type of things, and I've constantly asked myself as well when they have to go through these things, what part am I going to play in their life to try and guide them? But ultimately, your mom and your dad or your friends around the corner, your coach, they 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 can't do life for you. Unfortunately, they have to do life, and they have to make mistakes in order to learn. But the best way for me to do it is just to guide them in the sense of, right, this can be a bad choice, but you have to make that decision. You have to make that choice. And if you see it goes badly, you know what your values are. So fall back onto your values, understand who you are as a person, reach out to people that's clapping in your corner, and start working and developing yourself into what you potentially can be. Um, but it's a difficult one, especially with our youth today and all the things that's going on in society. But if we try and help them understand, and be positive with them, that can, and also that they fall back onto on their values and beliefs, then I think we can get to a result.
Mm. I find it special in terms of identifying the key to confidence. And while for me that was the biggest takeaway is again my perspective. Coaching is so individualized to the person. You're dealing with so many different personality types, and it's within any professional setting. No one person may be the same in which you engage with them or in which you will try and create an environment that's going to be best suited for them to perform ultimately. So now essentially looking at where this conversation has started, but really knowing what is the best way, and this doesn't have to be in the immediate performance. So in swimming case, not in the pool or in training. Maybe if it's athletics, not on the track or in running, but it's all the things that are done beforehand outside of the pool, uh, the way in which you communicate to help, as you said, provide that platform to help extend the hand, to be in that individual's corner as a supporter, a motivator, um, and that extends beyond the realm of coaching.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. The one thing that I did forget to say in that is that just remember, a teacher and a coach, or the people that's out there giving sports or guiding youth athletes, they sometimes see your child more than you see your own child. And as soon as we can get our teachers and our coaches to understand the value that we have, that we put back into the kids or the athletes that's coming to us, what big responsibility we have. If we can, I think if we can get that into the mindset of the people that's working with that athletes or the kids that's going to school, sometimes we have more of a influence on them than their own mom and dad. And that is something we tend to forget, and we need to be very attent on how we say things, how we do, and what type of example we're putting out there. Yeah, and that's frightening sometimes.
Mm. And it's crazy the way in which you frame that. It's showing the significance, and again, in which teachers and coaches play in the development of a child through their adolescence, which is truly stunning when you think of it in terms of the bigger picture and the way in which society develops as a whole. To perhaps take a step back, a breather, if you may. So there's this new thing I'm trying, okay, for this season of recordings, and we are calling it the Brew Break. Essentially, we have a few rapid fire questions where, it's a quick one-worded answer, something that's light, quick, and fast, and also to gauge a little bit behind the personality of Mr. Keith. So, if you're ready, I'd like to roll with the first question.
Yeah, let's go.
Go-to post-race meal.
A side of chips.
Oh,
Slab chips.
one endurance athlete you'd love to go on a training camp with.
Ryan Sands.
Choo! Most scenic place you've ever raced or trained.
Ooh. Madeira, in Portugal.
Yo, stunning. And finally, you did touch on this earlier, so it might be the same answer. But if you weren't a coach or an athlete, you'd be a
stay-at-home dad.
Let's go. That's cool. Okay. Now, as we conclude, we wrap up this conversation, I'd like to.
I think it's a good one because I've got 3% on my phone. Sorry, you're gonna have to cut that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
It's all good. It's all good. I have 3 questions left, so maybe.
Okay.
Oh, I can make it 2.
No. Let's go until it backfires on me.
Yeah. You've spoken before about movement as meditation. So, what I would like to know is, for you personally, when the world gets loud and there's work, there's pressure, performance, what personally brings you back to your center?
Movement, yes, like you mentioned, but ultimately I revert back to having a cup of coffee with my wife, reflecting, bouncing ideas, sitting at a wine farm where everything is beautiful. Everything is beautiful, nature, and just bouncing ideas, getting feedback as much as I possibly can, because I can't do it on my own. And that's why we've got partners in life, and she's been one of my biggest supporters and cheerleaders in life. And I don't think she understands the value that she has on my life, and how much I value her. And with having 2 kids, sometimes it's rushed and it's rough, and it's not a lot of sleep, and but just sitting with her, having a cup of coffee, enjoying life. That's where I want to be.
It's incredible to see the importance that family plays in your journey. And again, as we come down, I'd just like to see, right, if there's a young athlete or coach that is listening. someone's still perhaps finding their lane, not sure where their feet are going to land. What's one belief you hold that you hope they might carry forward too?
Don't let outside people or the way that they do things change your values and your beliefs. Stick to what you've learned, stick to what you believe you where you're going, and just find the people around you that's got the same values, same beliefs, and just go in a direction with them. Don't let anybody ever change that. Because those things have been put in your heart to believe in and to value for a reason. And there's someone out there that wants to hear that or understand that. And even if you just inspire or do it for one person, it's a difference you made in one person's life. And we don't know how long we're going to be on earth for, but changing one person is better than none.
Mm. I find that truly special, and it's definitely an internal motivator to keep striving forward and essentially trying to stack up those hours and where you can have influence in your space. Finally, my last question. A very simple one-worded answer. If you'd like to explain, you can. When everything is quiet, so let's think after a long run, a solo ocean swim, or it's just an early morning before anyone else is up. What is your why? What keeps Keith Jansen lacing up, logging hours, and just chasing a horizon that most will never see?
Hmm. Yeah. For every single thing that I participate or do, I've got different whys. But the biggest why is to to cherish my health that God has given me and the ability or the opportunity that I have on earth. And I strive, yeah, my why is everyday life. So yeah.
That's special. And I find it interesting looking at the full circle. I mentioned at the start in terms of what my synopsis was. My observation is for you, it looks wanting to live life to the fullest and being present in the moment. Um, and it's as an onlooker, as someone in your, I would think, in a circle on pool deck at least. Um, it's very present in the way in which you engage with those that are around you and the energy that you bring, which is truly special.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
In closing, before well, ah, right. So for those that are um for those that are listening and for those that are at home, Keith's phone has just died. So that abruptly brings our recording to a close. Um, I will ask Keith to send in a voice note because I was very interested in any closing thoughts that he may have. And we are back with the man. Keith is on the line, phone fully charged, healthy and alive. Um, so as promised, before the phone cut out and what we were getting to in the close, I really wanted to ask. Um, there was a lot that was discussed in this episode, and what I believe there were a lot of gold nuggets, a lot of true value and insights that can be shared with those that are listening. Um, but I wanted to ask if if there was anything that I missed, or perhaps there's something on your heart that you feel we didn't cover, or something that you wish that you would like to share a reflection on what we have discussed, or just something that may be extra. I would love to just tap into that and give you an opportunity to share.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. And sorry for the technical glitch there. I was actually on my phone more than I thought I would be today. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but managed to get all through all my projects for the day. But yeah, again, just I'm super privileged being able to share some of my thoughts and my opinions and my values, but um, it's really important for people that's listening. And it's not always sunshine and roses and beautiful pictures, and it's not always great out there. I'm definitely a really good person when I drink coffee, but um, it's not. It doesn't always go as you would like it to go. I've got my own faults, and I learn from a lot of people, and I tap into a lot of people's knowledge. I'm young, so I'm very ambitious, especially when it comes to coaching, and people will agree with me sometimes and don't agree with me. Um, the way I do things will either put people off or they will follow. But it's very important to understand that um, I I try to follow the pathway that I think is best with the people that's clapping for me, and sometimes it goes wrong. I'm not a perfect person, and none of us are, and that's also okay. Because I think sometimes in life, people think that you have to always be this good example, and you have to always be great, and you have to always say the right things, and it's really not like that. And that really is okay, and it's okay for people to tell you that it's not okay, and that you have to fix certain things, and that you have to change certain lifestyles or the way you receive things. But just make sure um, that you always listen to the right people um, that shares the correct and the same values, and that you trust your own inner heart, if I can say it like that, because there's always something that tells you, oh, something feels off, or oh, I should maybe listen to this person, but my gut feel says I must do this. Like you can trust that feeling, and if you truly believe in something, don't back off. Don't let anybody tell you to not pursue that or not do it. If you believe that you can do certain things, why not give it a shot? Even if you fall short, like that's also okay. That's part of the process. There's a reason why you had to follow that process. And um, yeah, just stick to your beliefs, stick to your values, love the people around you, and appreciate the things that God puts out there for us to enjoy. Um, yeah, that's me.
Thank you so much for your time, Keith. I truly appreciate you coming on. As you said in the start, a family man, true to the core. It has been very special to chat with you, and just a takeaway from that last little bit that you shared, and it's having the courage to start and showing up to the line and not being fearful for the unknown and placing yourself into a position where, you know, you may fail, but fail forward. And from there,
Yeah,
you'll learn quickly in the way in which you can succeed and grow. So,
100.
thank you so much for your time, for your thoughts, sharing your experience and your knowledge. It's much appreciated. And just from my side, for those that are listening and for those that have made it all the way to the end, as always, I truly appreciate and value your time. Uh, this has been an episode in just having the opportunity to dive into the mind of one of SA's finest swim coaches, but just beyond the cap of being a coach, also just looking into the realm of influence. And as we briefly touched on it, the role of educators and teachers and coaches that have within society and how they shape those that play a role in the future of a country. And just truly special when understanding the importance of relationships and how values and philosophy are essential in grounding decision making. So again, for those that have made it to the end, thank you so, so much. I truly appreciate your time. As always, I promise that there will be many more insightful and engaging episodes. For now, that is it. I am your host, Michael Bromfield, and this is Ballers Brew signing